All right, guys, welcome back to VGL. So not too long ago, we reported on some rumors that have been floating around about the possibility of a continuation of the Batman Arkham series. While the title of this game is up for debate, the rumors currently state that it will be something along the lines of Arkham Nightmare and take on a smaller scale formula than the latest open world DC games. After all, with the upcoming Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game officially reviving the Arkhamverse, it seems completely natural for something else to be in the works as well. A lot of people were rather dismissive of these rumors, as were we, but interestingly, just days after the Arkham Nightmare rumor started floating around, we got some official news from Warner Brothers themselves that seems to suggest that there may have been some truth to them, which is not what we were expecting to be reporting on today. Our intel today actually comes from LinkedIn, which makes it pretty official. The news was first detected and posted by Twitter user James Sigfield on December 20th. He tweeted out, according to LinkedIn, WB Montreal has officially started production on their next DC game, and included a screenshot of someone's LinkedIn. Now, it's unclear who this page belongs to, but it is under the Experience tab. It says that they've been at Warner Brothers Games for over 6 years and were a senior producer on Gotham Knights. Interestingly enough, the page also claims that they were working on Gotham Knights for 5 years and 11 months, which should give you some idea as to how tormented that game's development was. But like I said, this is also the same person listed that started in December of 2022. They started working on an unannounced project at WB Games Montreal, and they're once again a senior producer. James followed this tweet up with a gif of Superman and a caption that read, "I don't know what this game is, but there's only 4 viable options for WB Montreal's next game: Superman, Flash, Titans, Justice League. One of the 4 is obviously the biggest priority at DC right now, part of the Trinity, and hasn't had a game in 16 years. Let's hope obviously Superman is the subject of this very second tweet, and he's right that Supes hasn't had a game in a very long time. The last Superman game was back in 2006 and was a movie tie-in game for the awful Superman Returns starring Brandon Routh, even though I thought Brandon did a pretty good job, and Kevin Spacey. With a Superman reboot currently in development at Warner Brothers Games, with James Gunn taking the lead, I think it's extremely likely that some kind of video game has entered production. But what does this mean for the Arkhamverse? Well, at this point, we're crossing into speculation and rumor territory, so take this with a grain of salt. But if the developers of Gotham Knights are officially working on a new DC project, I think it's safe to say that Warner Brothers isn't giving up on the property. Gotham Knights wasn't exactly a smash hit, and a lot of people were worried about this game was going to be the final nail in the coffin for DC video games, but it seems that's not the case at all. With Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League right around the corner, it seems like Warner Brothers is going to be utilizing 2 studios for their big DC projects. Rocksteady will be handling the main games and the Arkhamverse, while WB Montreal will be making side games and perhaps offering some assistance on the main installments. If you were playing Arkham games back in the 360 days, this is very similar to how the system worked back then. Between Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, WB Montreal were the actual developers of Arkham Origins, while Rocksteady was working on Arkham City, which, if you didn't know, many consider it to be one of the best in the series. So just because Gotham Knights isn't a part of the Arkhamverse doesn't mean it's impossible that their next game won't be a part of the timeline. Granted, I think it's unlikely, but it's certainly not unprecedented. Rocksteady has a pretty tall order on their plate right now, as not only are they going to have to revive the Arkhamverse with the upcoming Suicide Squad game, but they also have to make up for the lost revenue and the hype following the pretty disastrous launch of Gotham Knights. I know the 2 games aren't really technically connected, but since they're both DC Universe games, they're naturally going to be associated with each other in people's heads. It's kind of like how Modern Warfare and Black Ops are completely different games in different franchises, but if you have negative opinions and notions about the other, you'll have preconceived notions going about the other as well. Suicide Squad is the first Arkhamverse game since Arkham Knight back in 2015, and that hype alone is going to be pretty strong for sales, but whatever happens next is basically a giant question mark for WB. So just to recap, rumors about a new Rocksteady Arkham game came out mere days before the official confirmation that WB Games in Montreal is going to be working on a new DC game. No matter what you believe about the Arkham Nightmare rumors, that is very suspicious timing, and from a business standpoint, it makes sense for WB to start pushing things like this. The Arkham series is still one of the most critically acclaimed franchises in gaming history, and even though Gotham Knights kind of face planted, Warner Brothers still has the video game rights to some of the most famous characters in the history of fiction. I really wouldn't be surprised if WB is looking to Rocksteady to revive the Arkhamverse, while WB Montreal handles other things and other characters in the DC universe like Superman, Flash, Wonder Woman, and eventually the Justice League. A ton of insider reports have come out recently that WB has some big plans for the DC universe on the big screen, so it seems natural that they'd try to revive the gaming world as well. The 2000s through 2010s were a great time for superhero games, but ever since the rise of live service gaming, the superhero genre has kind of fallen apart. Granted, Insomniac Games did amazing things for reviving it with their Spider-Man series, and frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the main reason we're starting to see WB change their tune on this. The 2000s and 2010s laid a great foundation for superhero games, and Insomniac Games blew people away by simply bringing that formula back and expanding upon it. Suicide Squad is likely going to do the same, but in a crazier setting, so why not bring back the Arkham franchise while you're at it, and have WB Games Montreal try to make some more crazy open world games starring other DC characters. Only time will tell how much this is accurate, but one thing is for certain, WB is not going to be giving up on DC gaming universe, and while Rocksteady's future is unclear, WB Games Montreal is 100% working on something new, so stay tuned for updates on that. That's going to wrap it up with this video, guys. Let me know what your thoughts in the comment section, like the video, subscribe to the channel with your notifications on, and until next time, this has been Wes, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.